Good day everyone, my name is Martin Kizon, a BSNE 1 sections K student. So now I'm going to discuss and tackle about what is perfect tenses of the verbs are. At the end of this discussion, you'll understand what are those principles that is necessary for learning about perfect tenses of verbs, an equation that represents on how are we going to apply it in our real life situations, especially in our day-to-day activities and such important matters, or maybe you run an important errands. So stay tuned, this would really help you or us a lot. So that's it. 3 types of perfect tense of the verb. So today we're going to be talking about the difference between present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect verb tenses as well. So remember that verbs are words that describes an action, occurrence, or state of being. The tense of a verb refers to the time of the action or the state of being. The perfect form is the verb tense used to talk about a completed action or condition and always uses a form of have or had plus the past participle. So that's it. So participles are words made out of verbs but used as adjectives. In English, participles are also sometimes used to form compound words like is going. And a past participles in the context we're using it today is the second part of compound verb that used to form a perfect and passive tenses. Past participles usually end in ed. Verbs can really appear in any one of the 3 perfect tenses, the present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect as well. So that's it. First, present perfect tense. Let's start by talking about present perfect verbs. The present perfect tense expresses an action that began in the past and is now completed in the present. Take a look at this equation. Present tense of have plus past participle equals present perfect tense. Present perfect tense example, we can put those elements into practice in the following sentence. So here, I have finished my homework already. Okay? So we know this sentence is written in the perfect tense for 2 reasons. First, we see that it's talking about a completed action. I have finished my homework. There's our ed past participle and it's telling us that the job is completed. The second hint we have is that it's the perfect tense is the word have. Remember, the perfect form is a verb tense that uses a form of have or had plus a past participle. So in this sentence, have finished tells us that the finishing action began in the past but is now completed in the present. We can see that the sentence used have instead of had, so we know it's really present perfect tense, not past perfect. So that's it. Secondly, past perfect tense. The past perfect tense expresses an action that began in the past and was completed in the past before something else occurred. So the past perfect equation looks like this. So past tense of had plus past participle equals past perfect tense. So past perfect tense example, here's a sentence with a past perfect tense. So Paul tried to hide the vase because he had broken it. So right away, our eye should be drawn to the past perfect phrase had broken. There's our past tense had and our past participle. So you may notice that broken is not an ed verb, but it's still a past participle. It just conjugates differently than the ed verbs we've looked at so far. This also happens with words like ate and shaken, etc. So the sentence is describing something that began in the past and was completed before something else occurred. So Paul broke the vase. The action is complete. Therefore, the tense is perfect and it happened in the past. Therefore, the word had appears in our equation. So that's the explanation. Lastly, future perfect tense. The future perfect tense expresses an action that will be completed by some specified point in the future. So this equation is a little more exciting. So will or shall plus have plus past participle equals future perfect tense. So future perfect tense example, here's a sentence with future perfect tense. Do you think the lunchroom will have cooked enough rice? So first we notice the 2 elements we've learned to expect from the perfect tense, a version of had or had and a past participle. In this case, the ed verb cooked you might be tempted to think this was present perfect tense based on our earlier equation. But be careful enough to look first in front of the word have to make sure it's not future perfect. Sure enough, the entirety of the phrase Reds will have cooked. Okay? So this tells us that we're talking about an action that does not done yet, but will be done in the future at a specific time. Take for example the following phrases. By the end of the night, Mary will dance for 3 hours. In 2 years, I will have saved $500,000. So in both these examples, the reader is standing in the present without evidence of a completed action. But we can be sure that both of those things will be done in the future. Thus, the past participles dance and save. Okay? It may sound complicated, but if you remember these 3 grammar equations and acquaint yourself with common past participles, you'll have a solid understanding of present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect tenses. So that's how it works. Okay?